As we are still in April 2023, I remembered that 30 years ago, when I started my second year at primary school, I took this dictionary, which my mom had bought some time before. In the market of my neighborhood, El Agustino, there was a lady called Miss Prudencia. She used to sell many second-hand books, and thanks to my mom, I got many impressive books as a child. Diccionario Hispánico Universal, World Spanish Dictionary, published by Editora Volcán in the city of Colón, Panama, in 1966, affirms to include 43,250 more words than the Dictionary of the Royal Spanish Academy. Now that I think about it, this must have been one of my first contacts with the English language, because these terms, apart from their definitions in Spanish, include translations into English, French, German, Italian, and Portuguese. I still remember that I tried to read those words without even knowing how to pronounce them. For example, let's see the Spanish word manzana, which in French is pomme, in English apple, in German Apfel, I suppose, Italian is pomo, and Portuguese maçã. Wow, it's impressive. So this dictionary is really complete, and it includes many technical terms from different sciences and disciplines. And because a child is a child in the end, I loved those slides, both colored like this one and black and white, on many topics. I did not travel in my childhood, but thanks to books, I always say that in fact I did travel all over the world, even though it might sound silly, perhaps. We used to have a letter, the letter che, which does not exist in English, but it was common when I was a child. It was after C. So we finished with Cuba and we started with Chad, countries that don't exist any longer, like Czechoslovakia or Yugoslavia. I discovered that there were other American countries, and I was interested in their art or architecture. For instance, something that caught my attention was the Sagrario Metropolitano at the Mexico Cathedral in Mexico City. I promised myself to go there one day. This is like a chapel next to the cathedral, as I said. It's really impressive and very tall. I was lucky to go there 5 years ago. And we have this palace in Lima, Torre Tagle, which houses the Ministry for Foreign Affairs. Every time that I go to the city center and I walk past this place, I admire it. I contemplate it as if it was the first time. But even more than art, it was archaeology what appealed to me as a child, and I didn't even know that this term existed. Look at that, Chichen Itza in Mexico, Copan in Honduras. I used to like that area, between Mexico and Central America, almost as much as ancient Peru. So this slide, believe it or not, helped me to appreciate our ancestors. I like Eastern Asia as well, Japan, Korea, and China. And who knows, maybe this slide created in me that desire, because I used to contemplate this pagoda from the Sun Yue Se temple in the province of Honan. It was so extremely exotic and extremely far away. I promised to myself, one day you will go there. I am still waiting. After 30 years, I hope to go there before I die. Look at these pictures about human races. Yeah, well, in the past, the word race was discussed more directly than now, in which we tend to censor ourselves when talking about this term, race. In Native Americans, Europeans, people from China, from India, from the Middle East, from Philippines, Australia, Africa. Wow, quite descriptive. Even though we also have a great lot of Western heritage. For one reason, I prefer something more exotic like Asia, Mexico, or the Andes. But in spite of this, how not to admire these classics of Renaissance art? For example, the facade of the University of Salamanca in Spain. I used to dream, and I usually dream, about that old Spain. If one day I go to Spain, I promise to visit Salamanca and admire this beautiful facade. And at the end of its 1,483 pages, there is a list of words mainly used in the Americas. Well, perhaps some of them have become old-fashioned, but others are still used more or less vigorously. I used to get angry because I compared, no, it's not used in Peru, or no, we don't use it anymore, etc. Anyway, so in this month of April, which is finishing today, and because when I was a child, lessons at school started in April, not in March, I wanted to share this relic that I have here, and 3 decades ago I took to my classroom. How heavy it must have been for me because I was only 6 years old and really, really thin. I recommend promoting, creating in children that knowledge, that reading habit. Of course, without neglecting other skills like sport, art, or mathematics. Someone might say that a book like this might not fit a little child, but in fact, when it comes to knowledge, children are more capable than we sometimes think. Bye bye.